Okay, so I think it's around midnight or something. I can't even go look at the stove anymore. Like I had a clock here, like a big wall clock, and I had already let go of time, and so but I kept this clock just because I liked it was the style of it was like an old grandfather clock off of a chain thing. I don't know. I liked it. I don't know why I've always liked those little chain wash things. Oh, which by the way, I just found a guy who makes hats that I've got to get one of those guys' hats. Oh my God. His name is Blade, or his brand is Blade, and he makes rock and roll hats, like makes them for you. Oh my God, I want one of these hats. He has a whole bunch of different styles, but I want a top hat. I really like hats. And oh my God, and I can just see what I want now. It's really fucking cool. Um, so anyways, I had just seen those. So, okay, let me think, because I have a whole bunch of things that I had seen that I was like, okay, so I can't see the time. Oh yeah, okay, so the clock that was hanging on the wall, it was like, I don't know, a year ago or something. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check the footage because I'm sure it's on my tapes, on my videos. But it was like it just kept being so loud. Oh my God, the ticking was getting louder and louder. And it was like time is ticking down. It was like, I just can't get that out of my head. It was just like this tune, tune, tune. I had to take the battery out. It was like, and I just set it on midnight, the doomsday clock hour thing. And I was just like, fuck it. I like the little style of it, but I can't listen to that. It was just getting too loud. It was weird how it was getting so loud. And to me, it was like telling me, but telling me to like let go of time or something. Or it was definitely kept drawing my attention. And then I unplugged my microwave so I didn't have that time up there anymore, because you know how that microwave, you always have the time thing. But then with all of the radiation and shit that comes out of the plugs and the things you have plugged in like that and how much goes out, I was like, I'm just going to unplug it. And so that I don't have that clock or that light or anything. I kind of just use it to kind of just, if I get extra flour or sugar, which I'm running short on, which I didn't realize. But I'm not going to stress. Like, I mean, we're in airstrikes. Like, there's fucking no way we're getting past this weekend. No fucking way. And there's so much shit going on in all these different cities, like attacks and shit. This has got to be the weekend. Like, and people who are just mindlessly going around, going out. But when they're sitting there saying we're doing these airstrikes all night over there, us, then the whole thing is so that we can get back. So we're gonna get struck back. But it's like a whole thing, because it's not directed towards us. It's to the people who are holding us hostage, and but also the ones that are is yeah, it's so weird how like some of these things are going to take out so many people and stuff. But that it is still like all this stuff has to happen, but it's like what wakes people up, because that's what it's all about. It's all about waking people up. And if you notice this shit that keeps waking people up, it's got people, so many people talking about so many different things, and then being upset for how things are being handled and stuff. Like Miss Business over here. Sorry, she's just really cleaning herself up here suddenly. It's all of a sudden, every time if I make a move, she's wide awake. It's like, okay, let's get this day started. I'm laying there so quiet because what fucking thing again is just so weird. Okay, I hadn't even finished the clock thing. See, I'm already all over it. The clock. Okay, so then when the oven thing started whacking out, so that was the only clock that I have had in the house besides my phone. The only access to any time has been the stove, because it has the time up there. And then the other day the power went out, and still the dryer isn't heating up and the oven's not heating up. The stove heats up. And so the clock thing was on, so it had the clock time. And then the power went out the other day. And then when the oven came back on, nothing would come on, just a code. I can't get the code to go off. And so I went on to YouTube to go and look and see, try and figure out what is the code mean. And it was it says something with the electrical or something. Uh, so in the YouTube thing, this one girl, she was doing a video and she said, she was showing all the stuff they went through because no, there wasn't any good videos. And so it was like, okay, go plug this into the AC, so check the plug behind the thing, check the stove, make sure its plug is still attached and is, so do all this kind of stuff about the plugs. Which, what would be the reason why the plug would suddenly stop working? Because it was already being funky anyways. And then, so then she said they had to go down to Lowe's or whatever and replace the breaker, the 220 breaker. So she said, you got to take the 220 breaker out of there, go get another one and just put it in. It's real easy. And then it was fine. And so then I watched another video, and this guy was saying when you're troubleshooting the oven not heating up, and he said, and you're trying to figure out if it's the 240 or 220 or whatever, and he said it won't be that if the stove comes on, because it needs that to heat up the stove, which was throwing my whole thing, because I kept thinking that they weren't giving me enough power to power the 220, but my stove was still working. But I thought, well, the stove must not need as much power. But this guy was saying that it uses the same power amount. So to start your stove or your oven, it needs the same amount. And so if your stove is working, then your power's working. So then it would have to be one of the heater things inside. So then you have to go in, unscrew them, take those out. And I already looked at them, and there's no damage to them or anything. I don't see why. Like this new oven, both of the things, because I tried the broiler and everything. And both of the things would burn out all of a sudden. And at the same time that the dryer would stop working. And if it's all a bunch of fluff inside the hose thing, it just happens to stop the same morning, won't heat up the same morning, the oven won't heat up. It's all just weird. And then for this code to suddenly come on and say it's the electricity, it's the power, but then the stove works fine. But now the clock won't work, so we got no time. So anyways, that was a long-ass story to get over there. But I wanted to tell that anyways because I thought it was weird. And so anyways, I was still just as weirded out about the whole thing. And it's keeping me from eating cookies, I'll tell you, because all I want to do is eat cookies and shit. Now, if I had my oven going, I'd probably just be baking cookies nonstop. So it's helping me out with that, I think. Because now it's just like, fuck. There's no, I tried making some donuts in the air fryer, and it was like, oh, rubber. It's like I could try to make a baked potato in the microwave, which when I make potatoes, I can still make those in the air fryer. There's a lot of stuff I can make in the air fryer. With having the air fryer and the bread maker thing, I feel like, and I've even got an Instapot, and I've even got a, what are those little things called? You just plug them in, and it's like a little thing, stove top thing. Burners, like a little stove burner things. So I've even got some of those. But, just having the kitchen and having an air fryer and a bread maker, I was like, man, there is people who live all around this goddamn place, planet, reality, realm, whatever the fuck, is, they have way less than that. And they're perfectly fine. So why should I need to always need more? I need to be able to go the other direction in my thought patterns. Is I need to be able to, is like in America, they made people too cushy. They made them need too much and not be able to handle anything. They're a bunch of little wusses. Everything, but people are seeing that about themselves too. That's one thing people are noticing, like, fuck, they don't know how to do things, and people are realizing what the dependency is. And I mean, just in the fact that you need to go do work for somebody else instead of yourself, like, you know, that was a transition. What they did, they got, it's always this shining, this dangling this carrot, this shiny object, this thing that draws you in, that will get you to chase something. And you know, the same way I was saying about like those, you know, starlets and stuff, how they're looking at each other just like there's an unhidden acceptance, like everybody knows what everybody's doing, just like, oh well, you know, we're all in it together. So it's like creates this certain energy. And it's so much like that with cops, man, I swear. And but you know, the Hollywood thing, so on this you know, the blues that I keep talking about, that is going to keep coming out. They're the, you know, I'm not saying that they're all the bad guys. I keep making sure that I make that clear. I'm not lumping a whole group of people and saying they're all bad. But I'm saying that the bad guys come from this group of people. And they have a thing about that they think they're better than us. And it's not an unspoken thing. It's spoken directly out. There's all sorts of blue people coming out now saying, yeah, that's the thing. Like, we definitely look down on y'all people. And now there's all this stuff coming out about the rules of Israel. Like, you know, you get to do whatever you want to kids. Isn't that funny? So you got all these kids right there in this little pool, and all these people over here are allowed to do whatever they want. So, wonder how that works out. Yeah. And people keep thinking, oh, they're blowing them up. Are you fucking kidding me? Not blowing them up. That's just an excuse. They're just taking them. Look, they're trying to catch up on the chrome. I don't know. Look. So, but somebody now has released a whole thing about all of, I think they were going before Congress or something. And they were trying to shut this guy down while he's talking, and he just keeps pulling them up. And all of the people who are in charge of these letter agencies that were just dealing with our health in such a severe manner, that they just all happen to be blue. And they all happen to have this citizenship over there in Pervo land. So weird, not weird. And then at the same time, they got all this stuff coming out that the true Hebrews, or true natural beings, the true God people, are the black people. It is see, that is those are the natural people who are the ones that were here, that the Anunnaki, like there's an original group of beings that came from, because it was there was some about the Neanderthals and then the Homo sapiens, but there's something about where the Neanderthals just kind of disappeared. And then it went to Homo sapien, and they call it the missing link. And there's something where they don't have any explanation. It's just because they keep trying to link things that aren't linked. But whatever point, when the Anunnaki came and they were doing that, the original people to this place, these other people are trying to like claim it. These blue people are trying to take these other people's birthright or something. I think that's what's kind of like coming out with all this stuff. You know, you gotta keep watching how it all plays out, but it sure seems that there's something about they're the true Cherokee, they're the true Hebrew or something. It's their land, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like what I was saying about, like, we're in these different realms. Like there's fights that are going on that are outside of our experience. So they're older. There's like what I was trying to explain. That's crazy too. Yeah. Okay. So like, okay. So what they were just showing me was like on the map. Like if you've Like, I always go and see those maps and shit. And the rings, like, there's rings. Oh, rings of fire. So, there's rings, like, there's, like, we're inside the Arctic Circle, like, there's these rings, and there's, everything is like these containments or something. And, but how there's always this gradation too, how everything, like, goes out. Like, the micro goes from the micro to the macro, and this gradation and stuff. And so, in everything is these different levels, just like how we're all here, but we're all playing different levels. We're all having different experiences. Like, what I'm experiencing is very different than what some other people are experiencing. Very different. Like, worlds apart. And so, okay, wait a second. I've got so many things coming in right now. Hold on a second. It's like fucking fireworks going off in my head. Hold on. Because it was the same ass weird fucking thing. When I even started the beats last night, got these ones that I really like. They're like, I think they're 174 theta waves or something like that. I like these like deep ones. They just like really pull me to sleep or something. I don't know. They really pull inside my mind. And so anyways, I keep using these same ones that I really like, so I have to go backwards. And so when I had gotten up and it had been, and I had checked and it had been 4 hours, and I was like, fuck. But when I tried to lay down and go back to sleep, I couldn't get back to sleep. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to get up and do my thing. And then I think I went back to sleep sometime yesterday. It was still dark out. It wasn't yet morning. I think it was like 6:30 or something. And then went to sleep till like 8 or 7:30 or something. So whatever, I got like 4 hours of sleep, and then another hour later, I keep thinking we got to quit getting hung up on, I got to get my 8 hours, got to get my 3 meals in, no, we got to get, there's a lot of this shit we got to break free from. And something that I thought was really, really, it was just a little clip thing that I had seen, and it was, God, I've got so many stories going right now, hold on. Fuck. I'm just going to be all over, because okay, so this one, Tilda Swinton, I think is her name. She always looks like an alien, kind of. She's I don't know, she's not weird looking or something, but she's just more, there's something unusual looking about her. And I don't know, it's something with her eyes and her eyebrows or something. Just her whole way she's put together. She's always had a look to me that's always a little hybrid. Like, I can see the alien in her. And so she is playing a higher density being, an alien, advanced being. And I don't know if this show is like Dr. Strangelove or something. I don't know what it was. I was trying to look all over their posts to see what it was, but if it was a movie clip or whatever. But so she's talking to this guy, and she's an advanced being, and he comes all powerhouse and towards her, telling her, claiming all his power, how he's so powerful and strong or whatever. And he's, no, what was it? Because he was saying, because she was saying something about spiritual or something. And he was coming real aggressively towards her, but saying he was flesh and blood. And so he was saying spiritual stuff is nonsense. He's flesh and blood, and that is what is real and all this stuff. And when he was saying it, I was going like, I was just clicking in my mind. See, this is how these people feel. They just don't see, they don't get it, because they believe they're flesh and blood. And that's a big thing, that people got to let go of that concept of being flesh and blood, because it's limiting, it's holding you back. Then you believe all this stuff can happen to you and everything. So it's this letting go of being flesh and blood, I think. And so when he does that, Tilda does something and just does like that. Like, as he's coming towards her or whatever, she puts her hand out and pushes. It is cool as fuck, is because it was the same visual as what I got when I said that my avatar self was going, as you're pulling out from that, just what I'm talking about, and pulling into your higher self. And I said that the visual, and it was like me going, and I was like, bye, Kelly. It was like me sucking back. And then in this, that's what it does. It was like the same visual. It was really cool. So she does that, and when she does that, it pushes him out of his body. So his body goes down, and he goes flying back out of his body, and it's just like, what the fuck? And then I think she might pull him back and pull him back in, and then he jumps up and he's like, what in the witchcraft, what are you doing to me? And he can't understand. And she said, because you don't know what you are. And so then he's still arguing about it or whatever. So she blasts him out again, and then puts him out into like Wonderland, out into some sort of spaced out trip world, which I don't know why people like to go there. Like, and so that really blew his mind. And then he wanted to know more about this magic when he came back. But the clip was over, whatever was being shared. But I thought that was so cool when she pushed him out like that, and he came out of his body to show him that he wasn't flesh and blood, because that happened to me when I was a teenager. And that is why I feel so strong about it. Like, yeah, I came out of my body, and I recognized that I was the same. I was exactly the same. There was nothing that was different. I didn't feel like I was moving different. I didn't feel like I looked different. I didn't feel like I thought different. It was exactly me. And I wonder what that's like. Yeah, if you just have a totally fake persona and you come out, maybe that is what gets people where they get such a state of confusion when they come out, because of the fake persona that they've created and their attachment to that persona and the life that they created, because that they don't understand that they aren't that. So, but then whatever is attached to them, if it comes out, it was kind of like missing or something. I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to try and drink it all real quick. I got a little bit more to go. So, so when I was laying there, I was, when I went to lay down last night, because it always is like I'll get so tired. And now I got 2 of these lights. It's like the lights. By the end of the day, the lights have just, my eyes are so fucking tired. Like these, I really do got to change that back to the old-fashioned lights. And even at the dollar store the other day, I couldn't even find night lights, the regular kind. It was like they're trying to do everything on the LED lights, and they are so bad for your eyes. And then I got these 2. I had the one light for the plants, the one sunlight thing. And the plants are struggling so hard, and we haven't gotten any sunlight. And I, just keep trying to rotate them. So I was like, fuck it. If it's good enough for this goddamn Truman Show, it's good enough for this house. So I'm going to get 2 goddamn suns. And so I got 2 suns rotating around. And when I was looking it up to order, I was like, oh, these really are the, I had forgot that I didn't just get that LED plant lights. I got the depression lights. So I do have 2 depression lights going around now. I had one though that was on all day long. And I wasn't even thinking about it was being a depression light, but it fucks with your eyes. And so now I've got both of those going. And so my eyes are just like dead by the end of the afternoon or evening or whatever. And definitely way before night. And that's always like, I just want to close my eyes and just like meditate. I just want to go into another world. And Stella will interrupt me and so. Anyways, but she was snoring hard last night. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to lay down. So I was laying there for a while. I think I went, turned everything off. It was like 7:30 or maybe 7:45. And then, I go sleep real quick, but I paused the thing to see, and it said it was 6 hours. I was like, well, how the hell could it be 6 hours when last night when I got up and I saw it was at 4 hours, I turned it all the way back, and then I laid there, I kept thinking, did not have that on all morning for 6 hours. And then this morning, so when I stopped it was right at 4 hours, like, oh my God, this is becoming like clockwork. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lay here. I'm not gonna get up. I laid there till like fucking midnight. And then I was like, okay, this is stupid. I gotta get out of this. Like, oh no, you gotta get more hours of sleep. It's like, if I'm awake, then obviously I don't. Like, I need to, and I can't shame myself if in a couple hours I'm tired and I want to go back to sleep. And maybe even after this, then I want to go to sleep. Like, I got to get out of my mind that everything's got to be this certain way. It's got to be this schedule, this diagrammed life. I gotta just get in the flow. And right now, like, to base it on the night and light, it's so dark here all the time. The darkness is like fucking most of the time. It's like goddamn dark until like 9 in the morning, and then it's dark by 5:30 in the evening. It's already where I'm shutting my curtains because it's starting to feel like a fishbowl. So it's it's dark. When I get up and then keep going, it's like so fucking long. It's dark. And Stella's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just like, it's still night, girl. You can just go back to sleep. And she's like, but what are we doing here? Yeah, it always gets her. I don't know. Why did I put that one on? I did that yesterday too. It just went off. That is so weird. Like, put on meditation music and then do I just have it go off? Like, I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm too. I saw this video. I was seeing these videos like over and over and over. I keep hearing these people talking about the cheesecake and the cheesecake lady. Like, what are they talking about? The Cheesecake Factory lady? Like, what is going? Why do people keep talking about this? So I went and I searched it, and it was this video of this lady, and she was on a first date apparently, but she seemed pretty comfortable with the guy. Like, they seemed to, maybe they knew each other from work or something. I don't know. They didn't seem like strangers, I didn't think. Hold on. And so he takes her out on a first date and takes her to the Cheesecake Factory, which, is when some woman is sitting there having a big fit like that's so below her, she's gonna be thinking that is some people's like dream come true, dude. So you gotta. So anyways, just keep that in mind. So, with something that you think is like below you, that's somebody else's dream come true. So it's pretty disrespectful for anybody to just be like, just like that lady who did that fucking video putting down the Walmart kid light up shoes when her kid wanted some because the other kids at school had them. And the woman was so slamming on those shoes. And it's like, chick, it's not about you. It's about the kids. The kids love those fucking shoes. They'll run around with their shoes lighting up. Jesus Christ, if your kids' shoes don't light up, like, I feel bad for them. Like, they look like the fucking reject when you're trying to make your kid all a certain way. The parents don't realize how much of their own shit they put on their kids. And, I don't know. I just was seeing women sharing that video, totally offended, like, rude. Like, the kids love those shoes. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not getting them because it's for you. But this girl was just talking so much smack to her kid about even wanting the shoes. I was like, God, way to beat the poor kid down. And then, so it's kind of like that. But what the fuck was I talking about? Now I go off on this other story. So let me think for a second back to where I was. Really is like so many things. It's like fucking going crazy inside my brain. There's so much stuff. It's a fucking tornado. It is like, because we are in the storm. Like, this is it. And I when I got up, and I was laying there, and I started watching, the guy in LA came up live, and he was at a crime scene, and I was watching, and I was a ton of cops, and right before I went to bed, I'd seen him, and he was at a crime scene. I'm sure it was him. I'm positive it wasn't one of the guys in New York. It, positive it was LA. And it was a guy, it could have been New York though, could have been New York. That would, yeah, that would make sense. If they don't know, they don't put it together or something. But so this guy was just walking down the street, and some guy just went by and cut him, sliced his neck and his face or something, just cut him up with a knife real quick, and then took off and went in some building, just randomly just went up this guy. So it had cops that were all there. The cops couldn't get, the fire trucks and shit were having a hard time getting through. This, I think, was LA, and they were having a hard time getting through because of all the traffic. It was LA. So the guy's sitting over there, and he's bleeding out. The cop's trying to hold it and stuff. He's just bleeding. And so then, and then a bunch of other cops were running, and they were going to go in this building, and they had some kind of gear thing or something. They were going to go and try and take on this guy. But this is what I was talking about, these instigators. These people who are just here just to instigate crime and fear and terror and shit. And I said, there's going to be tons of them. This is what's going to be dangerous when you're out on the streets and shit. And so then when he was just live when I got up, and he was at that crime scene, it was the same thing. It was somebody just went by and cut these two people, and it was out, LA, nighttime, party time, because he's going, and there's all these people just down the streets, just partying it up. And when you see it, every time I see it, I'm like, fuck. They're going to definitely I've seen it for the whole time. I was seeing it a couple of years ago, because when I drove through and when I was there, and I was like, I could just feel it. I every time I see them, I can just see it. When I hear them talking and their attitude, and it's like, fuck, LA or California, all of California, but it is going to get devastation. Like, I think we're going to see like 1 million people die or something. And it's going to be gruesome. And then it could be the earthquake is going to be just, I don't know. It could be that they're going to bomb us this weekend, is this airstrike back on what we're doing over there, striking us. So then they'll strike back or something. They'll use, I don't know, China, Russia, North Korea. It's all a show. So it doesn't really matter who it is. It's all just this big show. But there's going to be real things that are going to happen. There's going to be real things. So that's where it's just weird, because it's not, on one sense, it's a show, it's a movie. On another sense, there's real shit. There's real, people are going to be leaving. But that's where you got to start realizing, okay, but this is on a spiritual level. And shit's because they want to leave. They want out now. They're done. And they don't want to continue, or they only came in for that part, or whatever it is. It's the soul exodus. So it's not something that is scary, even though in the storyline it's supposed to seem really scary, because it's supposed to be more impactful. So anyways, the people are just I don't know, carrying knives and just go by and slice people. At this one of the people was dead on the scene, and the other one was at the hospital, but they didn't know if they would make it. But there was just so many fucking cops, so many, and the people weren't even there. And I don't know if they were looking for the guy, but all the cops you see are standing around talking and shit. And that's what I saw over at this one, even when they had the crime, when the guy had the shootout with the cops and stuff. And when I drove over to see which house it was, there's all these cops. They're just all out there standing around talking. And But the whole fucking thing is lined. They've got these giant vans, these crime scene, all this giant shit everywhere. And then they're all just standing around talking. But when I was seeing this one, and there was so many and so many coming still, and so much action going and stuff, I was like, and knowing how the cops are in on it too, this is something too that people don't realize, how they just follow orders. They just follow orders. So they just do what they're told. And, oh yeah, because that's where we're living. This story that I'm going to tell in a second is horrendous, about following orders. But I was like, how many of these are get a bunch of cops to crime scenes like this and then have something really bad go on? Like, they've used that kind of thing in other, they've put it in movies, like make all these distractions, get all the cops over here and over there, and then do something. I was like, oh my gosh, it was just crazy how there was so many there, and they kept coming and coming, and the people were already gone. One person was already dead, and the other one was already at the hospital. So, and I don't know what happened with the other guy, if he made it or not. They were holding his neck, so hopefully, but they cut right across, and that's where you get it cut right there, and they hit the artery, and because you have the carotid artery, but then you also have the jugular, and the carotid artery, it bleeds out so fast because it's your heart is pumping and it's big, and so then when it cuts, it just pumps it out. Like, your veins don't have the same kind of situation as your arteries. And I don't even remember why. Because the jugular is the arteries. Maybe the jugular is the carotid artery, and jugular is just like the what is that called? Slang name or slang word or something? Jugular. But maybe the jugular, I don't know. It's something like, I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, about the following orders. So this was a crazy story that I heard last night. It was really bothersome. I knew I was going to talk about it today, but it's so, it's got so many of the stuff, so many of the things. But so this guy, he's a trucker, and he, his place had said, take a break, whatever. I don't know if he drives deliveries or whatever it was, but so he had some time, and so he was supposed to just, wait or something, hang out. He had a little bit of time for a break or whatever. So we went to this gas station to get a drink, get some coffee or something, and there was this, so it must have been a coffee shop. And when you went in there, there was like a little party going on, and this old guy, and I thought he said 89 years old, having this birthday party. And so he acknowledged him, and somehow he talked to him and said, happy birthday or whatever. And, he said something so weird. He goes, I don't even know why I said it, but see, this is the interactions. These are the things that are supposed to happen. These are what I keep talking about, what people are just like, this is where you got to be present. This is where you start seeing, and then, where somebody's like, I don't even know if I said that. I don't, it just came out of my mouth. And it's because you're on a script. Like, you're on a ride. Just start paying attention to it better. And so so he said something like, that's a lot of years of, how do you word it? He says something the first, of like, because he says, I bet you are almost 100 years of regrets or something. I bet that's hard to have that many years of regrets. And so then the guy was like, and I think the guy went to the bathroom or something and came back, but then the guy stopped him and wanted to talk to him. And And that, it seemed like that's when he said the thing about the regrets. And, but so the guy said, yeah, I've got a lot of regrets. And they're haunting. I can't get them out of my head. And the guy was like, well, please tell me, what are these crazy regrets, these crazy stories or whatever. And the guy had said he was a fireman. And the guy was like, well, that's really commendable job. Thank you for your service. Kind of, he's really respecting the guy, like, thank you and stuff like that. And he goes, yeah, I was a cop or a fireman in the 60s and the 70s. And I don't know if it was in the 80s too. But he said, and he could have said 70s and 80s. But it was back either 60s and 70s or 70s and 80s. And he said that back then, and I can't remember exactly how I worded it. And the guy who was getting the story, keep in mind this guy is black guy, dark skin. And he, the guy who is having the birthday wasn't dark skinned, he was light skinned. And the guy having the birthday was the one he wanted to talk to the guy once he had made this eye contact and acknowledged him and then said something about regrets. And so the guy had wanted to talk to him and starts telling him, and the guy was like, yeah, tell me about your regrets and stuff. After he's already, I'm sure he's expecting something very different than what he got, because what he got, he was like, he's sitting out in his car doing this video and he's like very bothered. Like he doesn't even know how to unpack it. And so what the guy starts telling him is that back when he was a fireman, that they had orders to leave all of the dark-skinned people in the fires. Don't rescue them, leave them. And babies, moms, kids, everything. And he said they did. They did it all the time. And he's like, it haunts him now. He can't stop hearing it. He hears them screaming and stuff. He used to pretend like he couldn't hear them, but he can't stop now. And that they would do it all the time. It would be a big apartment building on fire or something. It was leave all of the dark people, and then you just turn around and tell the news that you couldn't get to them. That was their orders. And when the guy was getting it, or when he was telling it, he's like, I knew that's how it was for like the cops. I knew that's how it was for like the judges. And he's going through the things, but he's like, I really, really believed that the firemen were. This just makes me fucking so sick. Oh God, it feels like my stomach. I like kicked in the stomach. God, it's horrible. And he said that he really thought that the firemen, were there to save everybody equally. But these people, they don't want the natural people they don't even want them to know that they're the natural people, that they are the kings and queens, that they, there's so much, God, it's fucking sad. Because the people who are in charge aren't the natural people to here. They aren't God's people to this place. They are, they're like hybrids from other places that came here and took over, just as like the macro, just as what we're being shown of how it's always done here, what they've been doing here. Is so we can kind of start to melt that into our minds so we can wrap our heads around it, because that is how this whole place was like, has been. They've been taking these lands away from these people. And there's way more too about this in the ice wall and the other lands outside of there. That there's more, if you get into like the maps and the hidden history stuff and listen to those people, but there's more stuff about, it's kind of like that they've been taking these lands all over the place and trying to move people around, and different groups have gone to different places and stuff. And another thing too that I've seen, another person talking about this stuff with Melania, and I don't know. There is, like, wherever she's from, it is weird how it's on the map outside of the ice wall, and that there's all this stuff that they're trying to get us to understand, and that there's so, like, they've controlled and confined us, even though it's like, it is like, was the firmament placed? Like, did the firmament grow out of the toxicity to create the separation? Like, at some point, there was a separation created, but I don't know. Like, yeah, like our stories are all wrong about it. In the beginning of time, like, they're lying about it. So, but there was lands. There's always been, different beings and different people on these lands. But when they were seeing about, like, Earth was, it wasn't really inhabited. It just had animals and stuff, which we don't even know what the animals were exactly like back then. These animals that they're talking about, that they made into, that they did the DNA restructuring to turn them more into humanoid beings, because they're still like mammals, except that the creatures, they're talking about, that they took these animals, could be like what we think of like, oh, we're thinking like, oh, what, they took some monkeys or something. But it could have been completely different than what we understand at all. Could have been way more like a Planet of the Apes. It could have been way more like they were just like more hairy creatures, strong creatures. But they communicate, like they weren't like just regular animals, but they could have still been real animalistic because of their environment, because that's what the how it works in the different things. Why some animals or some beings are aquatic, some are different kinds of insectoids, and so it goes by what works for the environment. And so in the environment, when they had the ones here, but it's changed so much too. See, there's just been so much change through. Because all the way back, like there was, when everything was super giant, there was like, it kind of goes micro, and then it goes down, and then it goes out or something. As I think we're going to go back to being big again. And I just saw this thing, and this is like hidden pictures or something from like the 1920s, some kind of like a contest, or like, I don't know if it was the state fair or something, but they had all of these different like kings or something, these different leaders of these different tribes come to do this, I don't know, kind of like, seemed like some sort of games. It was said it's very much hidden. Like they've really tried to hide these pictures, and I don't know. This could all just be completely made up. And it could be all photoshopped and stuff. But they had all these men, these, like, I don't know, Nubian kings, all out standing with the other people. And so the king people were like 12 foot, and all the people were a lot smaller. And then the ways they were dressed and stuff, they looked like fucking kings and gods and stuff. They had these like elaborate kind of, they didn't have very much clothes on, but they were very costumey kind of things, like really representing like their tribe or something. They were really cool. The pictures were really cool. But they hide a lot of stuff about the giants, and I'm not even sure why. If it was because the only way that we would be able to understand about the giants is because it would really start making us understand it. It's not about this DNA and stuff like that. There's a supernatural thing happening here. There's people coming from other places all the time. And so back when it wasn't inhabited, except for like these creatures that were here, that were more, they were a part of this place. And then the Anunnaki came and turned them into their little slaves. And then there was more that was doctored throughout the time because of the the jump from Neanderthal to Homo sapien, then to Homo sapien sapien, and this missing link, and where they're like, well, we don't know what happened. All of a sudden this happened. All of a sudden these ones just disappeared. But you know, the Neanderthals could have been, you know, who ended up being the people over like in Australia. I can't think of what they're called, but it could have been like they went in that direction and became a certain group, because they do have like a super strong, rigid, like forehead thing. It has to do something about with their bones and stuff. If you look up like about the difference with Neanderthals and Homo sapiens sapiens and stuff. So whatever has been changed. I mean, now I'm sure, who knows what they were doing? Who knows what they were fucking doing to make these little fucking incubator babies and shit, to orphan train them out, you know, to create to inhabit their new habitat that they had gotten. And how did all the people die? Was there a big wipeout of, you know, some sort of reset? And we're on some other weird clock. Like there's so many weird things now with even dates. Somebody was like outside doing something with the moon and the sun or something, some astrology person, and they're like, the moon's supposed to be in Venus right now and it's not. This isn't making sense. And so she started talking about the pole shift thing. So things are, you know, whacked out, and calendars don't match. Like everything is whacked out. And I was saying that a couple months ago. Like, how can I mean, the astrology wouldn't be matching when they've got all of this stuff with the calendars. So when you're just trying to read the charts, it's like, but you got to go out and look at the stars, because nothing is matching what it's supposed to be. Everything is off. So you know, to try and figure out exactly, like this is going to happen at this time because this is how the planets line up. And then we keep thinking, oh, well, this will happen then, but everything is off. So, but I do think this is, when shit's going to go down. So I think this is it. There's just way too many things. There's way too many things with the money, they got stuff coming out with, Joe, and now all this stuff about like the 3-letter agency. They already knew everything he was doing, so then they start just blackmailing him. So see how they got to keep bringing all this stuff, how they got to drag shit out so they can keep showing more crimes and more crimes and more crimes. And the guy's already impeached. So there's so much stuff coming out about all that stuff, and about that they knew about all these crimes and all the stuff they were doing. And they were just on the take too. Everybody was on the take. Everybody's just trying to get money. Everybody just do whatever to get money. Nobody fucking cared. Nobody had morals or integrity. Money was more important than that. And then so though you end up like that guy. Like what I was saying, you can't get away from your soul when you do shit like that. And you know, that's leaving people, families and babies and shit to burn alive, like, because your job told you to. Like, and how, oh man, it just is sickening, because, you know, any of us who were back then, you know, and listened to the news, as it was on during dinner time, and your parents were listening to it all fucking time. And how many times did we hear about the whole fucking apartment buildings, these buildings in the projects burning down, like in Chicago and shit, New York, and all these people getting killed. And it's like they were doing it on purpose. There was letting them. They were trying to genocide. They probably were starting the fires on purpose. Probably had somebody go in, some arsonists go in, do it, and then they send in their big show to make it look like they're trying to save them. So, you know, we put our tax money towards these wonderful people, and then we get these guys who go and try and get these jobs, and it's like they got to keep this whole thing moving. Oh, yeah, okay, so because it's like we've got worlds inside of worlds inside of worlds. And so even in this one, because all of us who are living these experiences is the incarnators. You know, we're incarnating. We're just coming in, playing these parts and living these lives and throughout all these different experiences. It was kind of like, oh, did it get cleared out? Was there something happened? They had all this empty, and then you have these vampire beings that, are transplanted beings that come here. And it kind of too, it isn't just like they want to understand emotions. They see it as weakness. They see us as weak because we care, because they have no care. They don't care about each other. Like, I don't even know, like, those ones, if because the reptilians, I think they have a stronger thing towards their kids, but I don't know. But I mean, you maybe could just go and take a baby out of one of these people's hands and just do something, and they just would feel nothing. Like, these people are just really like just such empty shells. Like, I just saw some video of the Pope going and kissing the ring of the Rockefeller and stuff. And then they had him going and he was kissing the feet of these black kings. So I don't know what it all represents and stuff. And the thing it was saying is kissing the ring is who holds the power. So I don't know what it means when you're kissing someone's feet, though. That seems more like personal if you're kissing their feet than kissing their ring. I don't know. But all this stuff is going to keep coming up. We're going to keep seeing more and more. But oh my gosh, I think we're going to see a lot of these bad people are blue, and it is this arrogance, this hierarchy, this thinking they're better. And and like they're living a completely different life, looking down on us, and and then thinking that the struggles that we have are the struggles that we create, not even acknowledging that they are creating an environment of limitation to create struggle and dependency, and then shaming people for being that. It is like it's very twisted, and that's why it's got to go. It's like everything about it is toxic and hostile, and then we are having all of these different places like that are coming to the surface. But the micro macro, and this whole place is built on that energy. And so, but you have these souls coming in and incarnating. That's one level. Each of our lives and our own experiences and our own awarenesses, that's a whole nother level. Because my experience is, man, when I hear some of these people talking and stuff, and their awareness and what they're just realizing and stuff like that, it's like, oh my God, we lived such different lives. Just by perspective, just by awareness. It's just so crazy. And so there's all the different levels in there. And then you have, so that whole environment. And then you have the beings that are aware of this, that we don't have awareness. So there's a secondary awareness. Like, they know that what they're trying to control, when these people in the middle section don't have awareness of these people's control over them. So that's a whole nother level. And those people who have the control, those people are not natural to this place. And it's curious is if it was the Anunnaki who've done all of it, because I think it's gone way beyond that just the Anunnaki. It's like they started it, but I mean, they're not running the fucking baby farms and shit. I mean, they're supposedly on their way back. And there's more now where people are saying, that's a planet. Like, they're doing photo things and stuff and seeing that is not where people were like, that's a sundog behind it. And I kept saying, there's a giant ass planet. You can see the shadow. And I've been seeing it for years. I was seeing it on Facebook before I lost my Facebook, and I was showing pictures of it and getting in arguments. And so, fuck. It's just so weird. It was like I was having awareness of shit way back then, and I was trying to tell people, and everybody tells you you're just so crazy. And now people are just now starting to get the awareness of it. People are just now starting to talk about, like, I think there's another sun. I think there's another moon. And then people are like, well, there's another sun and another moon and another planet and another this. And I'm like, there's so much more conversation going, which is, beautiful, because then we get to find out more and more. You get to hear more, and you shouldn't be scared of all the things that you hear and stuff. Like, keep in mind, there are things that you need to hear too. I mean, you're not going out and creating what you're hearing. What it should be coming to you, and then your perception of it should give you your, like, lessons, what you're working on, what you're thinking about, what you're seeing is, it's your growth. And just like that guy, when that man told him, and he went into the conversation with so much respect. And then when he was sitting in his car and he was processing it, he was like, I just want to go in there and just beat the guy up. Like, he was just so upset and bothered. And then the coming into the realization of that they were doing this stuff on purpose. But that's why I keep saying this is about to go on a grand scale. And there is going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of tension and purging out, and like it's gonna get crazy. And I think that I posted, or I put it in the comments yesterday what that act is called. And let me think, because you can look it up about it. It's called the security, no, the something Reformation and Economic Act, the Reformation Security and Economic Act, I think. So you can look it up. Yeah, I think that's what's called, the Reformation Security, Economic and Security Act. And that is about relieving us from debt. This is about the bankers going down and stuff. Because that is on that other level where they were manipulating us without us knowing it. And so that is where the curtain is being lifted, is so people see how much they're being manipulated without even knowing it. Just like this guy, he's respecting people that don't respect him. And just like, to me, I sent my mom that one thing where it was saying about the blues. All of them are, that 3-letter one that has 2 C's and a D, that all of the people who were in charge of making all those decisions about all that stuff, they're all blue. And so I thought, well, maybe this would kind of sink into my mom's head. Maybe that would kind of be like, but there's something about, they've got the Christians wrapped around their fingers. The Muslims hate them. Like, and it's so crazy because it's like this religious division was created, but all these people just jump on board. They all want to hate each other. They all want to be so judgmental to each other. They all want to think that theirs is the only way to God. And then I can't get over how many of these things are all about just kill who doesn't believe what you believe. Kill who doesn't agree with you. Just kill them. It's like, book. Like, these books, they may have had a place like back way, way, way a long time ago, but come on, people. Like, you can see why there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be going. That's why I keep talking about this lower vibration. It's thinking, that's the way forward. It's not the way forward. It's the way to the end for them. It's not, that energy's not going forward to battle it out over religion and shit like that, kill all the people over it and stuff. That's why it's going to go out in a big old shebang. And it's already started. I mean, where we were striking was serious. So, and that's supposed to be dusted. So there's going to be these couple of places going to be dusted, but thing you hear about, what's really going on over there, you just, you're allowed to be a perv. You're allowed. And then if you are blue, you automatically get dual citizenship, so you can run from any kind of thing that you do over here too. You just escape over there. And wonder if that's why they were making such a big thing about Hanks and his big escape, because he didn't ever escape anything. I think he's long gone. And then I keep seeing more things too about that all of the Congress and stuff, there's only 10 of them that are there. It's all CGI. It's all a show. That they're all arrested. Like, there's so many more arrests than people think. And so people, it's just so weird. Like, I just saw even, who is that guy? He's a huge account. I can't think of who he is. A lot of these Patriot accounts, are huge. But it's like, yeah, it's like a party that's going to end. It's like, it's not going to go forward. It is, they are going to see, because they're so divisive too. They're so misdirected. They're, skin them alive kind of people. Throw them in boiling water. Like, they're all so divisive and angry and scared and stuff. And especially when they try and say like they're Christians and stuff, it doesn't go with it, because you would be working on your faith. You would be working on keeping yourself calm, knowing everything's fine, but they don't trust God, but they claim to love and worship him, but they don't trust him. It's like, you don't understand what you're supposed to be doing then. You're supposed to be trusting that everything is fine and having faith in this life. Like, everything's fine. And like, there's nothing that can hurt you, but then also you got to realize you're an eternal being. And that's why I think it is really significant when you do get popped out of your body and you do get to see like, oh, I'm fine out of there. Like, that body is, but the binding, the holding you, is this concept of what they tell you, your flesh and blood. And I think it's really funny now how all of a sudden, the Mandela effects, well, your heart's not where they told you. Now you've got a new organ that they didn't know was there and stuff. It's because it was not ever real. Everything has got to all go apart. It was, everything has been a story. And we believed the story, but now the story's falling apart. And so you have to be comfortable to go into the abyss. You have to be comfortable with having things falling apart and knowing that it's still okay. But that is where, that to me, that's the come to Jesus moments, is everything's got to fall apart. And that's what draws you into your spirit, into that, your come to Jesus moment. And then, but that's what, is going on in such a large scale. And and all the different people, like when I see so many people waking up, like to this stuff going on and to the shenanigans and Joe, and then just questioning it, like, why do you think this? And why do you think that? And there's all levels of this going on. Tons. So there's huge movement. Like, I don't know how anybody can think things aren't going on, but that is where, like, hearing this this big account, I almost said his name. It's like I can kind of see it. I can see him really good. And his name is like one word. And he has gotten a lot of divisive, I think because he starts making fun of Q or something. I'm not sure what his deal is. I almost got it again. Connor? No. But anyways, something he was saying, and all these people are just so paranoid. I mean, they all are sure we're going to be in the camps. We're all going to be like, we're all fucked. You go and listen to these accounts. We're just fucked. and we're all stupid, and the stupid fucking liberals, and it's all their fucking fault, and we got to get out there and vote, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. It's like, they're all losing their minds. And, oh yeah, because the Cheesecake Factory thing, yeah, I fit exactly like what I was saying. Because when I went to go look up about that Cheesecake Factory thing, like, what is up with this Cheesecake Factory? And I saw it was this girl, and she was on a date, and he pulls up at the Cheesecake Factory, and she's pissed, man. She's like, I'm not getting out of the car. And she's being just really snooty and smug about it. And then plus she went on this date, and she wore this dress that was like, I don't know. It was very, all you could see was like the little tiny straps and really super low cut. So I was thinking, okay, it's probably pretty tight and pretty short. It seems like not really dinner wear, it seems like when you wear a little more covered up to go out to a dinner date, that seems more like out dancing kind of dress or something than a dinner date. But, these women get so caught up in trying to be sexy and seductive all the time, and they think that that's the energy that they need to put out. I think these women think that they have to put on makeup, they have to be sexy and stuff. And this woman, she thinks she's empowering women by saying, don't go, don't settle. You don't take me to a chain restaurant on a date looking like this when I look this good and stuff like that. And, she's showing a lot of this attitude, and it's shallow. But some of the stuff she was saying of, you're courting me, you're taking me out, and she's trying to show other women to set a higher standard for themselves. And, but to me, it was like, don't go, courting would be, you're serious. Like, this person's courting you. They want to get to know you and stuff. That's not, you're not being courted going on for and dressed like that. You think that guy's really wanting to get to know you while he's looking at your cleavage? Like, you're supposed to getting him to get to know you. What part of you do you want him to get to know? So, so that right there, it was like, it doesn't line up, doesn't add up. And then to think, like, well, men used to go out and they would court women. What did I say the other day? I said they would go out and go for walks and stuff. There wasn't even restaurants and shit all back then. It wasn't people just going out to restaurants. It wasn't like, here, we're going to take you to a restaurant to show that we love you. No, it was like, we'll spend time with you. We'll come over and sit and talk with you. We'll sit and talk with your parents. And it would be way more of like, somebody would cook dinner for somebody to show that they were a good cook. That was your selling point. And the guy's selling point wasn't like, oh, I'll take you out to dinner. It would have been that they were that what they had, like that they had could provide a good life for you. That they had stability, they had security, and that you could was an exchange. It was like, I have stability, I have security, and then the woman, she has skills, like she knew how to sew, she knew how to cook, she could take care of kids, she had siblings that she'd taken care of or whatever. So she seemed like a good person to partner up with. They were like looking for partnerships. There was it wasn't even so much about love. It was a lot more, a lot of the experience that we've gone through with love has been about duty and stuff. That's why we're having so many, like, it's changing into this other kind of experience. It's going to be a different kind of thing about love. Like, it's going to be very different. And I think that is why there's all of this building up to it. Like, there's a build up to it. We'll see. But there's a build up to what this shift is going to occur. And let me think. There's like so many things. I swear to God, I feel like there's like a whole bunch of open books or something. It's like there's too many. Anyways, that girl, So, and so then after I saw this video where she's being really snotty and being really rude to him, and if you're courting me, you should be spending money, you should be taking me out, like trying to wine and dine you. It's like, okay, so if this person's trying to wine and dine you, I mean, is that really healthy? Like, everything just seems so unhealthy about the way people date and their expectation and what they want from this other person and stuff. And, courting somebody is getting to know them and spending time with them and stuff. It's not just, you show them how much money you're going to spend on them. Like, I don't know. But whatever her big attack on him. And the part I had seen too, he was saying something to her. So you think that a man should just go out and take you on a first date and just go spend a ton of money on you. And, and she just keeps looking at the camera like, yeah. And so I quit watching that one, and I went on to the next one where she's doing a whole apology. And I don't know how long it went, but that thing must have gone super, super viral, because that's where I keep hearing all these people constantly like, yeah, well, the Cheesecake Lady. Well, you don't want to be like the Cheesecake Lady. The Cheesecake Lady. It's like, what the fuck is the Cheesecake Lady? And so, she has this big, shallow meltdown, and she really shows herself. And that's why I kept talking about, a lot of people are showing themselves in a very public manner, like a public humiliation. And that is like, it's like karma. It's like stuff going full circle. So there's a reason for it. It's not just, chance. This is all a big purpose. There's a bunch of accounts that this is going to happen to. A bunch of people are going to find a lot of humiliation through this, what they've put out there, what they've exposed about themselves. And then when things turn and it shows them in a very different light. So it's going to be, shock. And so they're going to feel humiliated. There's going to be so much humiliation. But so she was doing a video, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I only saw it for a couple minutes too. And she was just saying, she can't believe how many people had watched it, how many people had commented and said stuff, how she was being portrayed and looked at. She was just trying to be supportive of women and empower women. And, she's just going through or defending herself or whatever. But all I know is it's going to be more and more of this public humiliation. It's whatever. It's her thing. It's her storyline, and it's her thing that she wanted to go through. It's like her soul wanted to be called out publicly so that she would, and you can go through all the different experiences and try and figure out, like, man, what happened in another life? What is she, but you're seeing all the different sides of things. You're playing all different roles and experiences, and you don't have judgment on them when you are, we aren't like not feeling like these other beings, these beings that don't, the vampire beings or whatever the hell they are, that don't feel that. And now I can't believe how many times that's been in movies now. Like, it's always been right in front of us that they are just these beings from somewhere else, and that they don't feel that and that is a benefit to them, see, because that can get them where they've got all the money and they think that having all the money, but they've created this money thing, like, to hold over us. So they created that thing to hold over us, but they are, but they've just been able to hold power because that they don't die. And I don't even know if they would die even without the chrome stuff. Like, I don't know that they need that to live, like a vampire or something. I think that they use that for some kind of feeling. Like, I know some of these people use it to anti-age, but which is so fucking creepy. God damn, that's creepy. But But these other people, I don't know if they do it to not age. It seems like they do it to feel and to feel powerful, like to feel like that they're so over us or something, like they can just. And then like that Finkel's being, saying that they eat the good parts, and then they give us the garbage and put it back into our food and make us eat. They make us without us knowing. But to them, it is that they are, force feeding us back our own, is just a way to show their power over us, to show our ignorance, to show, it's a part of their way of being over us. And like there's a lot to it. It's like because some things like trying to provide all the food and then putting all the poisons in, but there's so much to that too, of making their money go further by adding all these poisons to make us show what it does to us, but then seeing, oh well, the poisons that make somebody get sick, and then they have these problems, so then we can have a solution and we can give them these, and we can charge them for that, and we can. It's just this weird like way of this weird philosophy, a way of looking of just the more that you can take from another, the more you can beat them down, the more you can drain them, that gives them power somehow. So it's just weird. So anyways, they're a completely different kind of being. And so that's a whole nother ring, a whole nother separate thing where they can, like, the stage has been cleared and they can creep around and, start a new existence, because I think that's what they did. But I think that there was people who were around, because they still had to come in and take the lands away from the people who were here when they made America, when there was already people who were here who were living and stuff. And there is way more coming out about that. Like there's stuff down, where was this? Was it in Louisiana, I think? I think it is Louisiana. There is an older whole fucking pyramid town or something, like what's over in Egypt or something. And it is even older. And it is in Louisiana, and they have it covered up. And a lot of these places too, you start, like what I keep hearing in this crossover shit is Rothschild owned, like they own it, and then they put these houses and these portals and shit, these weird places. And another thing too, as I had just heard, is this lady, she went and took her kid to the hospital for being sick or whatever, and they said he was eaten up with cancer. It's just everywhere in his whole body, and they needed to start those treatments. And the lady said, no, I'm not doing the treatments. So they called CPS on her and made charges that she wasn't following the medical treatment. What did I say? They're going to be doing this. So I said. And then, so then she went back to the doctor, I don't know, a few months later, a few weeks later, and they went and ran all the tests again, and there was nothing, not anything inside of him. And she had done parasite cleanses. And so then this, the thing is on the radiation or whatever, the imagery that they use, the imagery, what comes up, and they say that these are tumors and stuff like that, they're parasites. So anyways, when she came back and he was clear, there was nothing. And the doctors were like, well, what the hell? It must have been a mistake. He must not have had it. So just keep going to that doctor that we sent you to. And so she left. But the point of the thing was that they were saying in the imagery and stuff, the parasites come up as where they call them tumors and stuff. But it's really all the things you see are the parasites. So those are the things that you got to clean out. And we're constantly getting them. I swear to God. You can cleanse and cleanse and cleanse, but it's just like, I think that they've even messed with our water now. they got that water, because there's way too many things. Every time I go, there's some weird thing. They keep messing with the whole area. They keep cutting the pipe back. Now they've put a plastic funnel thing. The water's coming slower and slower, and people are like, oh, it's slowing down and stuff. No, there's something there. And I don't know. It's not even like if people were out there that they would even know what they were doing, because they just follow orders. But I had seen those official guys sometime. I talked about it. It seems like it was, I don't know, I'm so lost in time. Maybe a year ago, or maybe it was in the beginning of spring, and I had seen them over there, and they were doing something. And I said, you guys aren't messing with the water, are you? And they said no, that they weren't. But, you know, I figured that the government, the officials and stuff, I mean, Whatcom County, they're, tell me that they're going to take my house in March. So I'm sure they know where we go and get our water out of this water well thing. So I'm sure that these people just are, so they just put parasite. There's a reason why we keep all having this like fog and this rain. It's fucking snowed already in North Dakota, and I'm sure there's snow in Washington State up in well, there was on the pass, but in Colorado, North Dakota, probably Montana, like we've already got snow going all up in the north. It's so fucking cold outside. I can't even believe it. And then when they sit there and say it's like 43, bullshit. Bullshit, it's 43. I could go outside in fucking the 40s and with a t-shirt on. You go out here, like I go to take her for a walk. I've got my two pants, like I've got these pants. They're like a coat pants or something that I put on because it's so fucking cold. And put these coat pants over my other pants. Then put this big old fuzzy thing over and a hat and everything. You go out, and anything that is not covered, your fingertips, your nose, or anything, it just frozen. It will hurt. It will turn red and become so frozen. That is a colder temperature. And it has that brisk coldness to the feel. It feels like it's like in the 20s or something. It's got that real brisk cold. You can even smell that coldness. So whatever they're doing is, I don't know. I mean, they've got fucking wind machines. They got fucking cloud maker machines. And they got this shit that they just blow, fumigate us. And then in the fumigation is just full of shit that grows inside of us, apparently. It's like nonstop. We have parasite. Like, you've got to nonstop through this. Just be constantly taking care of yourself. Really focusing on your health, man. It's like totally under attack. But all these different people, it's a part of what's going to go down. There's a lot of people who are just not taking care of it. Like, you see these live things, and it's just wacky, man. It's people just out, just going around, and then just going, there's like 20 cops and just acting like, no big deal. This is just how we choose to live our lives. It's fine. I saw this one lady in LA, and she was like, okay, she was doing a video yesterday, and she's like, I don't ever do these, but I'm really like, this is getting weird. I live in LA, and I'm really thinking maybe I need to get out of here. She said now they have people who are, what was it? Not carjacking. It's something similar, though. It's very random, like the same thing. The instigators are there to do random crimes, to just grab you out of your car and slit your throat for no reason. That's what they're here to do, to create chaos and fear. Keep the cops busy, keep the hospitals busy. It's just, keep the chaos and keep everything going and people in fear. I guess one person was saying, even over there in Minneapolis or Maine or wherever, where the one guy, I think he's still loose. But then they had another one going last night at another place. And isn't it just so funny? They're from this base. Like, I mean, that's just perfect to get out there about the MK Ultra. He's hearing voices and stuff. They've already seen he's got mental illness on the base and stuff like that. It's like they go, because that's what I've been saying. They find people who are like weak-minded, are weak-spirited, you know, that are just confused and just don't know and easy to lead, you know, they can crush their spirit. They can take control of their mind. And then they can even, you know, he was hearing voices in there and they were telling him what to do. That's the MK Ultra. That's what they do. And so and it's one after another. They get these guys in this service. So I keep saying that this whole thing is like a siphoning system, looking for and using what they need, taking what they need from people. And these people who turn to them for their mental health and stuff, it will destroy it. They will use you like a fucking pawn, and they don't give a fuck. So anyways, that's what the deal is, I think, with this guy. And but because what was it? Because they have there was another one of these going last night when I went to bed on another base, which was like, okay, I don't know, there's gonna be all these breakdowns and everything. Everything has got to break down to show us the corruption, to show us the truth, to show us, you know, and there's so many people who are playing their parts too. It was weird too yesterday because I get this email, and it said my address in it. So I opened it, and it was this lady, oh, you know, just if you give me 10 minutes, I see there's action on your home and we'd like to help you and stuff like that. And so I sent her an email back. I emailed her back and I said, you better start I sent her the Reformation Act and stuff. And I said, you better start telling your friends and stuff that they need to start going in this other direction. I don't know. It was just like a couple sentences. As soon as I pushed send, my phone started ringing. I was like, and that's what happened the last time too. It's all linked up, man. I'm telling you, it's all linked up. So, and you know, and that's probably it's probably the same group of people. They just put out it under a different name. It's all these people do, and they try and, I don't know, they'll attack you, your emotional state. They'll call you a scumbag and a sleaze. They'll do whatever works, or they'll threaten you in whatever way. Like right now, they're threatening me. You know, they're just gonna sell my house right out from under me in March. So, and but you know, luckily I know that this is all crashing. You know, all these people's lives are gonna all fall apart. These people who are coming and pushing on people and trying to take things from people and stuff. It's like these people just following orders and doing what they're told. Their lives are all going to be falling apart too. So they're not going to have time to come and be doing anything. In Whatcom County, I mean, I think that they're just keep showing all these different counties, you know, and who knows what fucking skeezy people who were running this one. There's a skeezer out there running every fucking county out there. There's several families, and they get together and they do sicko shit together too. So the people who are running our communities are scumbags. That's why there's going to be this big flipping, this big turning when it starts going into communities where people are going to be involved. We're going to sit back and vote in a mayor and then turn our backs and get busy on something else. We're going to be more present in our experience, in our life, in our community, and what we're building, what we're putting out there. And so it's going to be a big shift. But you can see why it's going to shift, because of so much corruption, so much sickness. I mean, they fucking... So however it was, if it was this big clearing, because there was all these fires and shit, but they still were coming and taking these lands away from these people. I think that was after, fuck. There's certain tribes and stuff that supposedly have so much historical information. There could be some tribes that know way more stuff. Maybe we'll start getting access to some of the tribal knowledge and stuff. All the pieces will get put together. But it is definitely, it's like they created religion to use that certain personality type. And that... And it really does seem kind of like that personality type is just so divisive and hateful. They're so comfortable with hating the people that don't agree with them. And I mean, this is all over the place. These patriots and stuff. Like what I was seeing, this one girl where she keeps putting this this filter on, and it's so wacky. It seems like nothing fits because these people put these filters on and then they have these behaviors and nothing is in alignment. You put on this beautiful face and then you're sitting there snarling and acting like this hideous creature. It's like, this is but that is a part of humanity that needs to be exposed to and to see. And the people who are in there thinking, like, do you think that putting on a pretty face covers up a hateful attitude? And then where you see people come in and call somebody out on their hatefulness, and then these other people turn around and support them for their hatefulness. And so that's what I was saying is like these other people are standing behind people who, it's like it's a whole group thing when this stuff starts going down. Like, that's why I've said, be careful about who you follow and stuff. But, and then to keep trying to make it about, I don't know, it's like, it's shallow. Like, these people pretend like they're not shallow or something, but they're all putting on filters and hiding themselves. And then there's, like, it's the whole thing about all these, the rainbow people, that they're out there wanting to support the people from the Strip, and they want to stand up for them, but then they don't even realize that the people on the Strip hate the rainbow people, and that they would slaughter you in a fucking split second, and they think you're weird. And so there's just all of this, like, well, just like my mom is going to support the blues, but they don't support you. They think you're garbage. That's the whole thing is like people have got to start seeing in deeper context, like who they're supporting, their own biases. Why are you supporting these people? Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? Why do you think this way? Why do you think that way? And there's so much. There's so much of this blind dedication, this blindly, doing. I don't know the connection, other than there's a soul connection that we just don't see, that we just don't know, because it's part of their experience to go through together. And it's not for us to understand, but I can definitely see so much toxicity just purging up, and I can see so much of people's own blindness to themselves is digging themselves into a hole, and a hole of shame, just like that guy, fireman, following orders, and here he is, like fucking old as fuck now, and he's haunted by, you can't get away from those demons. You can't get away from your mistakes and stuff. And in that case too, like that's a big one. That's why I've said, a lot of people have done a lot of different things throughout this, because it's given them an opportunity. It's it's a free space, free will. You get to make decisions for yourself. And my decisions are based on, what does my soul think about that? Let's go talk to my soul for a while. Let's have communication. What do you think? And when I get the committee, the board meeting over making decisions, so I don't know what drives these people. So I can't sit here and say, because I know all these parts have to be played out. All these, it's like all of the experiences. The universe wants them all. But some of them is just so like dark or something. But the all these people who are it's just, there's just so much of just spewing hate. Like they pick their group that they hate and blame everything on, and then they just keep just spewing hate about it. And that's not the way forward. That's not how we're going forward. That's an energy that's being purged out. And when somebody's sitting there like the exorcist, just puking it out, then it just is like, well, I don't know if they're puking it out because they're purging it from themselves, but then they still got to go through all of the humiliation of where they were the way they were. So it's not just like you can just get rid of it and then it goes away. Like, for that guy to have done those horrible crimes like that, like, I mean, that's way bigger, and where, you know, that is like, to me, where you have to go back and go through go through different experiences to, I don't know, like just feeling the pain from what he's doing. I don't think that just puts it back in balance. And just the pain, it is so deep to go and fucking tell like a stranger, especially somebody who's the same color of all the people that you killed. Like he's trying, you know, looking for, what is that called? When the people go to the Catholic priest, they're looking for this relief. They're looking for some forgiveness, and but it won't work. The forgiveness has to come from within, and the haunting is from within. So you have a battle inside of yourself when you have done horrible things, and then you have to forgive yourself. That's a battle. That's a big one. Like, I mean, and that guy is talking about it, and he hadn't even been doing the job for a long time, because he's talking back in 60s or 70s or 70s and 80s. So he's talking like 30, 40 years ago. And I don't know how long he's been retired. And I don't know when they stopped putting orders out like that and started saying, oh, go ahead and save everybody. Who knows? Who knows if that's still the thing? I mean, I think I wouldn't be very, I think I would have heard that from my brother. I think there's way too many woke firemen and stuff, way too many people who are very race conscious now to be able to do something like that. But back then, like, it was very different times. Like, I'm telling you, they did act like those people were like animals, and it'd lock them up in ghettos, and I can see why those people were like acting out. Like, I can see why there was crime happening, drugs and all that stuff. Like, fuck, of course there would be. You fucking have contained them. You've given them no hope. You just hold them in there like it's like a fucking prison. And so I knew I knew how it was gonna go. I knew it was gonna just turn into such a toxic place. And then plus, when you see that Boys in the Hood, when they say like there's you know, two gun shops and two liquor stores on every corner. Like, it's everywhere there. Like, they are putting it in a direction. And then to not let them have business licenses in their own communities. None of them could have business licenses, but to give them all to these other people, like Oriental people or Middle Eastern people, let them have business licenses in their communities. Like, that's not going to create tension. It's all done on purpose. And look at how just the constant beat down on these people, the people who come from the original DNA from this planet. So that's man, there's just a lot. There's just a lot going on, and a lot to just keep coming to the surface, a lot to just keep, you know, and you just gotta, you know, it's important to keeping your flow, just like that guy going and having that interaction. It wasn't one that, you know, he was probably getting up in the morning thinking, oh, yeah, I'd like to go do that. But it was something that it was important for him to have in his healing journey, and maybe it was going to start his healing journey. Maybe this is his part that's going to wake him up. But that's where your interactions with other people and the awareness that it's out of your hands, you know, when you're saying something. I think a lot of people hold themselves back. I think that's why so many people have anxiety disorders and stuff. Like, they go around and they have this draw, like your soul's saying, hey, talk to that person, listen to that person or whatever. And they start like closing up into themselves. They're so scared, and they're scared of the environment, and, you know, and that is created too. They created all of that fear, especially with these young people. You know, they've beat it into their heads. This is not safe. You're not safe. You're not safe. Even to get them to think that about gender identification is a safety issue or something. Like, Like they've got these people just, yeah, no wonder they all have anxiety. They've got them just scared to death of everything. They're just goddamn scared of their own shadow. Um, so anyways, that's a big mess. I saw this one guy, so many of the progressive guys, they are all so flamboyant anyways. And this one, because they're talking about, now they keep talking about the draft there, and I think that's all to just wake people up. And so it gets them talking though. And this guy, he was like, I'm not going. But you guys see him, like, he's a little thick and he's very flamboyant and stuff, and he's just like, there's just no way, I'm not going. I don't know how to use these things. Like, this is not the time. I'm not the person you want out here trying to save this place. I'm, basically scared of his own shadow.